Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. It is League One action this Monday night football as Port Vale hosts Stockport County at Vale Park. Port Vale under Darren Moore are currently just inside the relegation zone after the weekend results, and only a win would take them away from the drop zone. At home in the league, Port Vale have only managed to win one so far, and that was against Mansfield 5 weeks ago. Without a win in their last three in the league, Port Vale will be hoping to get back on track against high-flying Stockport County. And for the Hatters, in the away corner, they are a win away from topping the table after teams around them dropped valuable points over the weekend. Everyone else in the top six failed to win in on the Saturday fixtures. They have won 3 in a row in the league at the moment, Stockport County, and they've come against Exeter in the last game, also at home to Blackpool, and in their last away game to Huddersfield. And after playoff heartache last season, County will be looking for automatic promotion this time around. These two sides, though, last met in the EFL Trophy back in August 2022. Port Vale took the win here at Vale Park with a Chris Hussey free kick, who went on and played for County that same season and won the League 2 title. But their last meetings in league football was back in the 2010-2011 season, where it was a win each, with Port Vale winning 5-0 away at Edgeley Park and County winning here by 2-1. But it did not stop County from finishing bottom of the table that year, dropping into non-league, whereas Port Vale finished in mid-table. So, to round off the action for game week 14 in League 1, will Port Vale get a much needed victory, or can County climb to the top of the table with 3 points of their own? Back in 2 seconds, just got a quick phone call to answer, just 2 seconds. Sorry about that, just a quick phone call I had to take. But yes, Port Vale, Stockport County in League 1 for this Monday night football. It is Port Vale who have just slipped into the relegation zone, but they're quite unfortunate they have gone into the bottom four, because pretty much the majority of the teams in the bottom half of the table in this division either won or picked up a point over the weekend. It was the top teams that dropped a lot of the points. As mentioned before, everyone in the top six, obviously other than Stockport County, didn't win. So it's a huge opportunity for the away side to go top. If they win, they'll go on 28 points for the season so far. They'll go 2 points clear of Cardiff and Stevenage and Bradford, who are all on 26 points, first, second and third. Cardiff and Bradford would have a game in hand on Stockport County, and Stevenage would have 2. So based on points, they'd go top, but on games in hand, that could definitely swap over, and potentially one of the other 3 teams could go top later on in the next few weeks when they get their games in hand played. But it is a massive chance for County to just make their presence known in the league, that they can go top and that they can battle for these automatic promotion spots. They finished comfortably in the playoffs last season, and it was only due to the fact they were in the same division as Birmingham and Wrexham. They didn't go up automatically themselves. Finished third in the end with 87 points, but finished 5 points off Wrexham in second and 24 points off Birmingham, who finished with 111 points. But they were 12 points clear of 7th, so they were well inside the playoffs, but just a bit too much quality above them to get that automatic spot. Obviously, a team like Wrexham, they've been battling with it through the divisions for the last 3 or 4 years, as it is Port Vale's remembrance ceremony in this home game. I'm assuming this is the last home game they've got until Remembrance weekend, so it will be tonight that they go through their remembrance ceremony, which they're just doing now at the moment in the centre circle, laying down poppies around the ball that is put on the centre circle spot. And for Port Vale, 1 win in their 6 home games so far this season in the league. That was against Mansfield. It was a 2-1 win back on the 20th of September. They've also lost 3 of their home games so far. And they've come against Leyton Orient, Stevenage, and Doncaster, but they haven't lost in their last 2 home games. They drew 0-0 to Northampton, which is a little bit of a disappointing result, and then also beat Mansfield as well. That's come within their last 5 league games. As this is why the teams are out so early for this game, just to go through this remembrance ceremony around the halfway line. But we will go through both starting 11s just while we wait for kick-off. We'll start with the Port Vale side, who do make 4 changes from their last league lineup last weekend when they lost 1-0 to Wigan away from home. Joe Gauci will remain in goal. He's on loan from Aston Villa for the season. It's a back 5. At right wing back will be Kyle John, and the left wing back will be their new signing, a free agent who they brought in after he was released from Sheffield Wednesday. And that is Marvin Johnson, the 34-year-old. He turns 35 at the beginning of December. And 3 centre-backs of Jesse Debra, returning Cameron Humphreys, who missed the last 2 games with injury, and alongside him will also be Connor Hall. 3 in midfield of George Byers, captain Ben Garrity, and a former Stockport County player, Ryan Crowsdale, who joined last season. He spent 4 years at Stockport County, winning 2 league titles, and he has also scored 3 in his career against Stockport County, or before he joined them. He scored 1 against them for Kidderminster in the National League North in October 16, and then 2 for Fylde in the National League in December 19, and in the FA Trophy semi-final back in March 2019. And 2 up front, it'll be Rory Payton to play alongside Devante Cole, who they brought in on a free from West Brom in the summer. And for Stockport County, it is unchanged from their last lineup in the league against Exeter, which was a 1-0 home win, a Nathan Lowe winner in the 24th minute. And it's Ben Hinchliffe to remain in goal, 37 years of age. He has returned to the starting 11, and he's played in all of the last 5 league games, conceding just the 2 goals, keeping the 3 clean sheets with 4 wins and just the 1 draw. 3 centre-backs of Joseph Oluwu, Callum Connolly and Ethan Pye. 4 along that midfield. At right wing-back will be Everton loanee Tyler Onyango. On the left is Ben Osborne, who's making his 400th club appearance. And 2 in the middle of Odin Bailey, who's making appearance number 99 for the club, and he'll partner alongside Ollie Norwood, who is the standout League One performer so far this season. He's on 4 league goals, 3 of them penalties, and he's also added 4 assists this season. And then 3 up front on the right, kind of playing as a wide striker. That is Nathan Lowe, the 6'4" loanee from Stoke. He scored 18 in 30 last season on loan at Walsall in the first half of the season. On the left-hand side is Jack Diamond, who's just on the 2 league goals so far this season, not scored in his previous 8. And up front, leading the line, as usual, is Kyle Wotton for Stockport County. He's not scored in his last 3, but he does have 5 league goals. And the only game he has not started so far this season in the league was at home to Burton in game week 5. So they are the 2 starting 11s as we're about to get underway very shortly here at Vale Park. It can hold 16,800. Opened in 1950. Of course, Stockport County will be the favourites. Most chances created in the division so far this season is Ollie Norwood with 29, and even at the age of 34, he has been some signing for the away team, brought in on a free after leaving Sheffield United in August 2024. Searching for his 10th Stockport County goal. Scored 5 last season. He's on 4 already for this campaign, and he still has the ability and the quality to probably play higher than League One. That's why Stockport County feel so privileged to have him in their starting 11 and as captain, as the yellow ball is out as we edge towards the winter season. As it'll be Port Vale to kick off, kicking left to right. Stockport County right to left. We've had a false start from kick-off. It is Port Vale in their home kit, white shirt and black shorts and black and white striped socks. And for Stockport County, it's their 3rd shirt, I believe. Their green retro kit with the old school badge. Green top, white shorts and green socks. As we get underway once more, Port Vale go to their goalkeeper, Joe Gauci. Sends it long down the middle of the pitch, looking for one of their strikers up there, Rory Payton can't be found. Stockport County deal with it with Wootton on the halfway line, flicking it into Bailey, can't quite find Diamond, cleared away by Humphreys for Port Vale. Oluwu can't quite deal with the ball against Payton. It's now on the left wing position for Devante Cole, who's trying to get away from Norwood, which he does very powerfully, sending him to the floor. And then played forward. It's a high ball to the edge of the area. Connolly heads away, all as far as Croasdale, who heads back forward. But then another header from Osborne, as it's only gone as far as Humphreys for Port Vale, who's been chased down by Diamond, and he wins the ball back for Stockport County. Then backheels it into space for Osborne, who will get there ahead of Croasdale and turn back and go towards the halfway line to Norwood. And it's now Stockport County in possession. Lively start there from Port Vale. They are a very direct team, like to get high balls up towards the centre-backs, make them feel uneasy against their strikers, because they've got two tallish strikers up there, especially Devante Cole at 6'4". But it is the away side on the ball in their 18-yard box with goalkeeper Ben Hinchliffe. It is poured down today at Vale Park, so there is a bit of a skid on the turf as Wootton wins the header from the long ball from Pye, can't quite flick it onto Diamond, dealt with by Jesse Deborah. And it's now back to Joe Gauci in goal for Port Vale, as mentioned before, on loan from Aston Villa. Played twice for them last season, the first team, and they were both in the League Cup to Wycombe and Crystal Palace on for another loan spell. As Port Vale go long down the left-hand side by Connor Hall. It'll be Rory Payton to chase, but there's too much zip on the ball. And it'll roll out for a goal kick for Stockport County in the rain. Still pours. Stoke-based. Port Vale. It is really bouncing down as we are heading in towards the November month, where Stockport County travel again on Saturday away to Tranmere in the FA Cup, and Port Vale are at home once more, but they play on the Sunday against Malden and Tiptree. There's a ball over the top. Nathan Lowe gives chase from the Oluwu pass, but straight into the gloves of Joe Gauci. Australian internationals, played 8 times for Australia, was on the bench for both of their international games in the October break just gone against Canada and the USA. Is the headers kept in by Kyle John, headed away by Norwood, controlled by Wootton on halfway. As far as Odin Bailey, who's dispossessed there by Garrity, but he loses out to Wootton. It's bouncing around, it's a scrappy start, as the ball eventually drops to Humphreys, who will return it to Gauci. We're just under 3 minutes in, no chances as of yet for either side. Like I say, you can tell the conditions are having a bit of an effect as Hall goes long for Port Vale down the left-hand side, looking for Garrity, comes off the back of his heel, and it will roll for a Stockport County throw-in midway inside their own half on the far side with Tyler Onyango, the right wing-back. Played 5 times for Everton at senior level, joined the club in 2011. One of those 5 appearances was during Carlo Ancelotti's time at the club. Now at the age of 22. Spent the first half of last season on loan at Stockport County, Tyler Onyango, but it was cut short due to a hamstring injury that he picked up in the November. But he's returned on deadline day this season, as they were waiting to get the move done earlier, but Everton were having injury struggles, especially more defensively, so they had to keep hold of Onyango to fill out the bench for the first couple of weeks. Hinchliffe goes long up towards Wootton, header won by Hall, drops in the centre circle there to Byers. It's now Johnson down the left-hand side, no one there for Port Vale, easily dealt with by Oluwu. It's now Callum Connolly, the central centre-back for Stockport County, who's currently in for the injured Brad Hills. Returns it to Hinchliffe. First time clearance up the field into the Port Vale half, looking for Wootton. Heads it on, but Wootton's returning from an offside position. And that'll be a free kick for Port Vale. Just 1 loss in their last 5 in all competitions, and that was in their last game against Wigan. Even against 10 men, they weren't able to take anything from that game. Does look like Wootton had just slightly strayed offside. As it will be Deborah to take the free kick for Port Vale. It's a high ball, of course, up towards the edge of the area. Payton heads it on towards Cole. Header won by Connolly, controlled by Wootton. Plays it out to the right to Onyango. It's now Bailey to the right centre half of Oluwu on the edge of the area. Norwood round the corner for Onyango. It's a short ball. Johnson nips in and takes it away. And then tries to cut inside. and then plays it back, well kept there by Marvin Johnson, who gets the ball returned to him towards the byline. He works across, and there's a free header for Croasdale. And against his former side, he probably should have scored. Brilliant work down the left flank by Marvin Johnson, getting the better of Onyango not just once but twice to eventually deliver the ball in. And about 8 yards out, Croasdale came in late, unnoticed by the county defence, and he's just got under it. He's got under it, hits the top of his head and over the bar. Big opportunity for Port Vale. And despite spending 4 years at Stockport County, Ryan Croasdale, he scored against them 3 times before he joined them during his non-league days with Kidderminster and Fylde. He should have scored that. Would have been his 3rd league goal of the season as well for Ryan Croasdale, who returns to the team after not picking up a minute last weekend against Wigan. As it's a Port Vale throw-in midway inside the county half on the far side. Be taken by their number 28, Marvin Johnson. Spent last season, of course, at Sheffield Wednesday. Played 41 championship appearances. Started 7 of the last 10, but didn't score in the last campaign. As in the box, there's a chance for Cole, and Hinchliffe gathers. They didn't show the build-up, so as soon as the camera panned back to the action, it was almost a tap-in, it seemed, for Cole. But Hinchliffe got down low to his left and gathered what seemed to be a ball across the box. And Port Vale are the team who look most likely to score early on as Hinchliffe goes long over the head of Wootton, straight through to the Port Vale goalkeeper on the opposite side of Joe Gauci. And it's now on the floor with the Port Vale goalkeeper, which seems to be in a purple-looking strip tonight for the home team, as he kicks it left-footed long out to the left-hand side. Header won by Onyango. Collected in midfield with a back heel, but it fell straight to Wootton. And Stockport County can look for a chance of their own. Wootton surrounded by Port Vale shirts, and he's dispossessed by Byers. And it's Marvin Johnson in the left wing-back position to just get rid down the left channel, where there's no one to chase in a Port Vale shirt. And it'll be returned to Ben Hinchliffe. The Stockport County can try and build from the back. They've only conceded 3 in their last 6 in the league. Stockport County currently on 4 clean sheets for the season, just 1 away. And that was against Rotherham 5 weeks ago. As Hinchliffe again, long ball for Wootton, loses out to Deborah. But the head has gone straight to the county central centre-back of Connolly. And it's the away team back on the ball on the far side with Joseph Olowu. Then Norwood, first time ball down the right-hand side. It's just curled out and back in. So it'll be a throw-in for Port Vale within their own half. Again on that far side. Miserable conditions as they're showing a replay of that chance. Payton turned on the edge of the area, then played it through for Croasdale, who tried to square it for Cole. Hinchliffe read it well and dived across to stop the tapping. Remains goalless here at Vale Park as Diamond goes down, trying to skip over the challenge. I think of Byers. Didn't quite catch who that was with the challenge in. Odin Bailey got it on the halfway line, played it forward to Diamond. It was actually Humphreys, the centre-back, who lunged in, caught the county winger late. And it'll be a free kick for the away side, about 10 yards inside the Port Vale half. Thanks to everyone who's in the stream. Quite a lot of you's in here. If you can like and subscribe, that'd be fantastic. There is Darren Moore, the Port Vale head coach. 88 games previously in charge of Port Vale, 35 wins. Didn't win any of his first 8, as they were relegated from League One when he took over in the February of 2024, but of course bounced straight back last season. Ball in the box for County, headed away, but only as far as Osborne, who gets the cross in now first time, and it's dropped in the area. Croasdale meets it and lifts it out to the left-hand side for Johnson away from the 18-yard area. And then Johnson plays it down the left-hand side towards Cole, tackled well by Norwood. Couldn't be kept in from the touch from Odin Bailey. And on the halfway line, it is a Port Vale throw-in. Just less than 10 minutes in, still goalless. Port Vale have looked the most likely to score in the earlier exchanges of the game. Only lost twice so far this season. Stockport County, one of them away from home, and it was a 4-2 battering to Plymouth, who are currently struggling in the drop zone at the moment, beaten by them in early September. I watched that game, and Plymouth were just simply much better than the Hatters that time around. As it's now a Stockport County throw-in with Olawu. Came through the Arsenal Academy. Left in 2021. Won the League 2 title last season with Doncaster. Didn't sign a new contract though and joined Dave Challoner here at Stockport County instead. It's now with Port Vale on the halfway line, a slip from Crowsdale, but he's been helped out by his teammate there of number 7 George Byers, who just had to keep the ball ticking along because County were pressing. Long ball down the left-hand side. It's high. It'll be given chase to by Garrity, the captain. Again, too much on it and skids out. Every time I've watched Port Vale, which don't get me wrong, isn't too often, but when I have watched them, very direct, like a long ball forward up into the 2 strikers. And it works, win the second ball, win the flick-ons, get in behind. You can see how it can be effective. Sometimes possibly a tough watch at times if it doesn't work, because obviously a lot of the time the ball's not on the floor. And Stockport County are a bit more of a ball-playing team as they attack down the left-hand side. Diamond try to chase the low pass, dealt with though by Deborah. Cleared forward, header won by Ethan Pye on the County left. And Norwood gets it right in the middle of the pitch here to Olawu. Plenty of time on the ball here for the 6-foot centre-back as he goes down the right channel here for Lowe. Just outside the area, first time cross, and it's not met by anyone. Wotton was going for it at the near post. It's gone right across goal. Really good ball that in from Nathan Lowe. Deserved better. Still alive though with Stockport County as it's just about being kept in by Osborne. Into the middle of the park to Diamond. Now to the right on Onyango. 25 yards out. Goes forward into the box for Lowe. Shielding the ball away from the defender. And brings Odin Bailey into play. Norwood, first time ball out to the right to Onyango. 1-on-1 with Johnson. Dinks a ball in towards Nathan Lowe. And he's scored in back-to-back games now for Stockport County. Both of them headers. And that is a prolific header into the bottom right corner. Scored their only goal last weekend against Exeter. Scoring from a Norwood cross. This time it was Onyango from the right-hand side. Norwood with the first time ball out to the right flank for Onyango, who didn't really beat Johnson, just kind of had a bit of space to work across before he could close it down. And he just lifted it into the air. And it was perfectly weighted. Straight onto the head of Nathan Lowe, who had a pretty simple jump to make to direct the ball on target. Bouncing into the goal. He's been struggling for goals in the league, Nathan Lowe, but he's scored in back-to-back games now. And potentially refinding his confidence in front of goal. It's County lead. It's Port Vale 0, Stockport County 1. 2 goals in 2 games, both headers in the first half of both of the matches. It's his sixth in all competitions. He's scored a brace against Wolves under-21s in the EFL Trophy and also scored once at home in the League Cup against Crewe. But it's his 3rd in the league. He hasn't scored since the middle of August. He scored against Leyton Orient away from home in a 2-2 draw. Now he's scored in back-to-back games. Onyango with the assist. And Lowe with the goal. Starting to find his feet potentially in a Stockport County shirt. As Port Vale had probably been the better side, but Stockport County have got themselves a chance and have taken it. And that's what you need to do when you want to be aiming for automatic promotion. And it does send Stockport County top of League One as it stands. Teams below them do have games in hand where they could potentially overtake the Hatters, but they won't mind that for now as they win a throw-in. Kyle John, the right wing-back, kicked it forward, deflected off a County man, back off of him to concede the throw. There is Dave Challoner in his bobble hat on the touchline, taking charge of his 225th Stockport County game. He's only lost 50 of those previous 224. as Deborah battles well to keep the ball away from Wootton towards the edge of the area. It's now Hall lifting it towards the halfway line to Payton. Loses out to Olawu. It's now Bailey in the midfield facing his own goal, going back to Connolly. Then a first time ball forward up into the air looking for Onyango. Flicked on to Lowe, who tries to volley it on once more, but can't quite get it away from Hall. And it's now switched across to the right centre-back of Cameron Humphreys, the former Manchester City Academy graduate. Plays it down the right-hand side, but can't work it to Kyle John Osborne into a more central area here for Jack Diamond, who plays the ball through for Lowe, cut out with a sliding challenge. It's needed by Connor Hall. But as far as Onyango, who goes into the centre circle to Norwood. Back out wide to Onyango again, the assist maker for the opening goal of the game. Olawu bringing the ball forward from right centre-back, but then going backwards as he was being pressed down by the Port Vale midfield. Diamond to Onyango, midway inside the Port Vale half on the far side. Going back into Odin Bailey. Norwood lifting it in behind towards Onyango, cut out but only as far as Low on the edge of the area. Turns, shoots with the left foot, and it's easily saved. Down low left for Joe Gauci. But it just represents the confidence that Nathan Lowe currently has, taking on that shot with a weaker foot from the edge of the area. It's Port Vale's turn to attack. Kyle John from right wing back, driving inside to a number 10 position, tried to slot it through like a number 10, but the ball was cut out, but it fell back into the feet of the Port Vale centre-back of Jesse Deborah. Goes to his left to Connor Hall. Furthest left is Marvin Johnson. Goes forward to Payton, who's dragged to the floor by Olawu. And that'll be a free kick for Port Vale. They like receiving free kicks in these sort of areas, allowing them to get across into the box and ask questions of this Stockport County defence. Just over 17 minutes in, Port Vale 0, Stockport County 1, a Nathan Lowe header, the difference so far. The centre-backs have been sent forward for Port Vale. They've only scored 5 times at home in the league this season, in their opening 6. They'll be wanting to score more in front of their home crowd. Stockport County have got their defensive line right on the edge of the 18-yard box. With Marvin Johnson to deliver from the left-hand side. It's towards the far post, header won by Wootton. It'll drop here for Ben Osborne. Forward it goes to Diamond. Is the counter-attack on? Diamond holds it up, loses out, but the ball goes out for a throw-in for Stockport County off Port Vale's man of Connor Hall, who's at the club for a second spell. The number 5, joined back last July in 2024 from Colchester. His first spell was from January 22 to 2023. Callum Connolly on the edge of the box for Stockport County. A big ball forwards with the right-hand side towards Onyango. Headed won by Johnson, and then headed on once more by Humphreys, but as far as Norwood on the halfway line. Taken to Pye, the left centre-back, who goes to Osborne, then into the middle for Diamond. Well found. About 30 yards from goal, works it to the right to Onyango, then back into Odin Bailey. Devante Cole getting back to put him under pressure, forcing him to go to Norwood, then out wide left towards Osborne. It's a header away by Kyle John. Throwing in the final third on this near side for Stockport County. Osborne throwing it to Bailey, returning it to Osborne, then back to Pye, and back once more to Connolly. Forward to Norwood, outside of the boot, pass into Pye. He is just absolutely brilliant. Ollie Norwood, a Rolls Royce of a midfielder at the age of 34. Osborne on this near side, going back to Pye. Then forward to Odin Bailey, last touch. Came off Devante Cole, so it'll be another throw-in for the away side. Just less than 20 minutes in, they still lead by a goal to nil. Just 2 wins in their last 10 against Port Vale for Stockport County. As the ball goes into the edge of the area, flicked on by Lowe, can't quite find Wootton. Gets beyond the back of Deborah to drop into the gloves of Gauci. It's now Johnson down the left flank here for Garrity. Driving with the ball, being chased and followed by Odin Bailey. Last touch comes off the former Salford midfielder, throwing in the final third this time for Port Vale on the left flank. Yeah, they do strike me as a team who will probably be taking on the long throw-ins into the area. Stockport County manager Dave Challoner, famous for his long throws. But they go short instead to Connor Hall. Now into Byers. Back once more to Deborah. Every outfield player in the Stockport County half at the moment. Crowsdale goes back to the opposition goal, but then he's allowed to turn forward on this right-hand side and deliver a floating ball in towards Devante Cole, who heads it on target, but it's easily saved by Hinchliffe. Just has to raise his two arms to catch above his head. Just couldn't quite generate the power there, Devante Cole. Port Vale's number 44, who has got 4 goals in his opening 7 league games for the club. Scored 3 in his first 3 against Leyton Orient, Exeter and Mansfield, but then just 1 in his last 4. And that came against Wimbledon away. A fortnight ago. It's Pye battling with Cole, and it's Pye who comes out on top. He's going to lift it down the county left towards Wootton. Heads it on Fullow. Wins the ball with a chested touch away from Connor Hall and turns away from him down the left-hand side. Looks like he's playing full of confidence, Nathan Lowe's. Go back into Osborne. Who gets it towards Lowe, uses his body well, but then can't quite get away from the challenge of Humphreys. It was needed because if he'd beaten him, he was away in the 18-yard box on his own. Poor ball forward from Crowsdale. Couldn't quite find Payton or Cole. It's now Onyango at the right wing-back position for Stockport County. Into the middle of the park to Bailey. It's now Norwood. Back out wide to Onyango. Norwood once more going to the halfway line to Callum Connolly. Born in Liverpool. Came through Everton's academy for 15 years. Pye down the left channel for Wootton. Had to be cleared first time by Humphreys. Wasn't a very conventional clearance. Out for a throw-in for the away side. Definitely grown into the game, Stockport County. More so with the goal, because it was Port Vale on top before they took the lead. Osborne with the throw back to Diamond, then Osborne lifting it in towards the edge of the 18-yard box, volleyed by Connor Hall, then volleyed by Kyle John, but as far as Osborne forward to Diamond, takes on 2 players, edge of the area, right-footed, takes the shot on, deflects to Wootton, who'll shoot himself, and it's drilled into the bottom right corner, and County double their lead. It's Kyle Wootton's turn this time to get on the score sheet. He'd failed to score in his last 3 league games. That very small rut comes to an end here at Port Vale. They've clearly grown into the game. And are leaving Port Vale behind. Diamond with some silky skills to get away from 2 players. Then his shot was deflected. It fell into the path of Kyle Wootton, who didn't really think too much about what he was going to do. He had to do a quick spin to get behind the ball. And then a right-footed shot curling into that bottom right corner. Delicately placed with power to get it beyond Joe Gauci. And 23 and a half minutes in here at Vale Park. It's Port Vale 0, Stockport County 2. Proper strikers finish that from Kyle Wootton on the edge of the area. Spin, shoot, score. Simple as that. And they cement their lead in this game and their place at the top of League One as it stands. As we return to the action, and it will be a Stockport County goal kick. It's just his 2nd goal ever against Port Vale for Kyle Wootton. His previous one was for Scunthorpe in a home fixture for them back in April 2015. So it's been over 10 years since Kyle Wootton scored against Port Vale. Hinchliffe takes the kick long up towards Wootton. They're wanting a flag. It doesn't get raised, and he touches it down on the halfway line for Odin Bailey. Goes to his left to Norwood. Fires out wide right in behind for Onyango. Didn't quite read it there, and it's going to roll for a goal kick for Port Vale with their goalkeeper Joe Gauci. Last season, Port Vale finished runners-up in League 2. Doncaster finished 1st. They were 3 points clear of the playoffs in the end, Port Vale, by 3 points. They were 4 points off Doncaster, ended up winning the league. They did get the joint least amount of defeats, though, in the league, Port Vale. But they have lost some key players. The main one they've lost was their top goal scorer last season, Lauren Tolite, who's now currently on 7 in 10 for Plymouth. As we're just going to get a pause in play at the moment from the goal kick. Not entirely sure why, but both sets of players have gone over to their technical areas to take some drinks on and get some tactical info, I assume. Not quite sure why there's been a pause in play. Maybe something in the stands, an issue maybe that could have occurred. So just a moment for both teams to reflect on the opening 26 minutes. County lead 2-0. The first one scored from a header by Nathan Lowe. Stockport County scored the most headed goals this season out of anyone in the division with 7. One more than Stevenage in second place. But yeah, Nathan Lowe with the opening goal with the clinical header into the bottom right corner. And so did Kyle Wotton. He scored with his right foot, but so in the bottom right corner as well. Perfectly placed. 10 minutes apart, the 2 goals. Lowe in the 13th minute and Wotton in the 23rd. And with Stockport County at the moment, they've got a really strong bench tonight. Everyone on the bench could easily be starters, and they're also missing quite a lot of players who could easily make it in a lot of other League One starting 11s. You've got Brad Hills out with an injury. They've got Artu Hoskonen, centre-back who they brought in on a free. Icelandic, scored against England, funnily enough, last year in the Nations League, I believe. He's out injured. Teo Edun, Fiorini, and also Malik Mothersill, their record signing from Peterborough. He's out. He's missed the last couple of games and not really featured, kind of been on the bench, but apparently he's missing tonight completely due to his partner giving birth. So that's why Malik Mothersill is not involved for Stockport County tonight, as we're still waiting for this goal kick. Again, not entirely sure why there is a pause in play. I'll try and find out. I'm assuming it's something from the stands. So I think we are ready to get back underway. With the goalkeeper, Joe Gauchi, taking the goal kick up towards Cole. Had a one by Pye, flick back forward for Port Vale, but always finds Osborne, who slams it forward down the county left. Diamond will chase it. Deborah needs to deal with it, and he doesn't. Diamond's in. 1-on-1. County have a third. The front three are firing for Stockport County, and they're all on the score sheet within the opening 28 minutes. Jesse Deborah, completely bullied by Jack Diamond. The centre-back claiming there wasn't enough communication. He didn't know how close Diamond was, but he was breathing down his neck. A slight little shoulder to shoulder gave Diamond the upper hand, and in the box 1-on-1. Again, bottom right corner, slotted calmly. Just needed to get rid. Deborah took too long. The goalkeeper tried to close the angle, but he didn't come out quick enough. Calm, composed from Jack Diamond, who finally gets a goal after not scoring in his last 8. When Jack Diamond is on form, he's very difficult to deal with. And tonight he's been on it. Been beating players. And this time he's beat the goalkeeper. And it's a dream start for Dave Challoner's side. It's Port Vale 0, Stockport County 3. And the entire front three have scored for the Hatters. Lowe with the first, Wotton with the second, and Diamond with the third. And we're less than half an hour in. Raining goals at Vale Park. They're not for the correct team. Darren Moore, with a concerned look on his face, took over the team when they were in League One and down fighting. He couldn't keep them up that time. He did get them straight back in the division by winning automatic promotion. But it looks like it's going to be another fight down under at the bottom half of the table. for Port Vale this season. Long ball by Hinchliffe to the edge of the area towards Wharton, who heads it on, controlled by Lowe, but it's a bit loose, and it'll roll out for a goal kick for Port Vale. Absolutely loving their time in Stoke this evening, Stockport County. Dave Challoner watches on. This is his 60th game in charge at League One level, just losing the 11 times. And he only lost one of his first 11 in this division, and that was a loss to Leyton Orient at home, 4-1 back in September 2024. Of course, they were the team that broke County Hearts at the end of last season on penalties at Edgeley Park in that playoff semi-final. And interestingly enough, Stockport County drew 8 games away from home last season in the league. In the actual league season, not excluding playoffs, and they all finished 1-1. Of course, we probably won't get a draw tonight, and the semi-final first leg against Leyton Orient was 2-2. But every draw within the normal league season last time out finished 1-1, which must be very rare to happen, to have the same result every time you draw a game. It's Port Vale on the ball, just inside their own half down the right-hand side. They find Kyle John, the wing-back, into the midfield to Byers, through the gap for Croasdale. Pye comes across. He's going to try and shield it out. Won't have the pace on it, so he's able to turn Croasdale and then clip the ball forward. Low goes down, seemed a bit soft, cleared by Deborah, but as far as Bailey. It's now Diamond. Sprints beyond the halfway line. He's got Croasdale behind him, pulling away at him, but he can't quite find the pass to Osborne. It's now Port Vale again with John. Loses out quickly to Osborne, but it's seen as a foul. And that'll be a free kick for the home side. "32.5 minutes in, and it is Stockport County with a 3-goal lead. And it puts them top of the table as it stands. Their next league game is a big one against Jack Wilshire's Luton Town team at Edgeley Park. That's on the 8th of November, because next weekend, or the weekend coming up, is FA Cup first round weekend. There's a long ball forward for Port Vale, goes straight behind for a Stockport County goal kick. Not the best of kicks there from Joe Gauci, the goalkeeper. Adelaide-born goalkeeper. Left Australia in February 2024 to join Aston Villa. Stockport County play out from the back. It's a ball down the right-hand side. Drops off Johnson, and it's a throw-in just before the halfway line for Tyler Onyango to take. Former England under-17 international. The Everton loanee, 6'5", very, very tall. Yet to score for Stockport County. He has been sent off for them this season, though, in their away win against Huddersfield at the start of this month. Hinchliffe, big kick down the left-hand side. No one's there to chase it. Wood will give a late chase, but it'll be Gauci, the goalkeeper, to get there first. It's now Humphreys, the right centre-back. Lifted ball up towards John. But as far as Pye, played back forward by Payton to Kyle John in the right wing position. He's got Pye stopping the cross from going anywhere near the box, but he will win a corner for his efforts. Kyle John, playing in his first ever League One campaign. And Stockport County have got a corner to deal with. They'll send their centre-backs forward. Jesse Debrew, 6'2", Humphrey, 6'2", Connor Hall, 6'4". And it'll be Rory Payton, the striker, to put an out-swinging ball into the penalty spot. It goes over the head of Deborah. Kept alive by Johnson on the far side. A left-footed cross goes in towards the far post, where Onyango wins the header. And it's behind for another corner. Vital aerial duel won there by the wing-back. But it will be Rory Payton to deliver this ball in again. The Irish striker, brought in for a 6-figure fee in July of 2024. Near post this time, and Onyango wins another header, as it will drop for John. Into Payton on the right wing position. Forced to go back to Croasdale. Lifted forward, deflects off Odin Bailey towards Nathan Lowe's, battling with Croasdale, and he keeps it away from the midfielder. It's now Odin Bailey who gets brought down by Garrity, and that'll be a free kick for County just inside the centre circle. Probably needed to make the foul there. Ben Garrity, Liverpool-born central midfielder, cynically bringing down Odin Bailey. Less than 10 minutes to go with the first half. Port Vale 0, Stockport County 3. Norwood's over the free kick. Waiting for a bit of movement. The captain. He's going to lift it out to the left flank towards Osborne. Can't quite keep it in. Been teammates for a very long time. Ollie Norwood and Ben Osborne. Played with each other now for 114 times, but they've never assisted one another. Of course, playing a lot of their football together at Sheffield United and also Nottingham Forest as well. Port Vale throwing, midway side of their own half on the near side. There is Dave Challoner once more, barking instructions for his Stockport County side as Pye wins the header. Another throw-in for Port Vale, this time just inside the opposition half. This would be Stockport County's 25th win in this fixture. This is the 78th time they're playing one another in their history. First time they played each other was 125 years ago. It was a 1-0 away win for Stockport County. They've scored a couple more this time around in 2025. It's from the throw-in. County eventually cleared. Straight back to Port Vale's goalkeeper so they can restart from the back, the home side. Byers on the halfway line, being closed down by Diamond, who scored County's third. Ball forward towards Cole. Looks like he might be offside, but he's got the better of Pye and Connolly, and the left-footed shot is well blocked by a recovering Pye. The angle was tight, but he still had to make the block. And Yango's clearance just about kept in and cleared forward for Port Vale. Now on the left-hand side with Byers, Croasdale. To the far side, it's now Marvin Johnson, who crosses into the box. It's well claimed by Hinchliffe, who wants to kick it quickly. A huge kick forward towards Lowe. Loses out there to Ben Garrity, the captain, who's kind of covered in at centre-back there. Ball forward, Olowo's touch is heavy, and it's taken on by Byers in the left wing position, surrounded by green shirts, and he wins a throw-in the final third. Not sure if Devante Cole was offside there. If he wasn't, it was a well-timed run, but well defended there by Ethan Pye, who won Stockport County's Player of the Year and Players' Player of the Year for the last campaign. Played 44 of the 48 league games they ended up playing last season. Stockport County scoring the 1 goal away in October against Shrewsbury. Diagonal ball out for Port Vale. Well controlled on this right flank by Kyle John. Twisting and turning against Osborne. And they go back to the halfway line to Jesse Deborah, who came through Charlton and Millwall's academy. And we played County once previously, Jesse Deborah, and that was part of a Halifax side who were beaten 2-0 on the day County won the National League title back in 2022. As Olowo's picked up the ball here, but there is a Port Vale man down here holding his head. As the ball drops, and the free kick's gone Port Vale's way in the end. It's actually Marvin Johnson holding his face. I thought it was Ben Garrity, and there's actually a yellow card being given out to Nathan Lowe, who seems in a little bit of disbelief. The player who got the goal scoring started for Stockport County tonight. First yellow card of the season for the Stoke Loney. Not exactly liked around these areas. Nathan Lowe being a Stoke City player. There was a little bit of a right arm thrown there by Lowe as he ran off Johnson. That camera angle didn't exactly give an indication of how much contact there was. Yeah, both replays are where the camera is pretty far away. You can definitely see a bit of movement of the right arm kind of towards the face / head of Johnson. I'm not exactly sure how much of it had intent. Oh yeah, the nose is bleeding. Marvin Johnson not happy. The referee chose the yellow card while Johnson's got the red nose. Still shaking his head as he runs away there, Nathan Lowe. Maybe it was an accidental catch of the Johnson nose. Not entirely sure, but Nathan Lowe will be more than happy with his performance so far. Heading home the first goal in the 13th minute. Expertly done by the 20-year-old. He actually won League 2 Young Player of the Year last time out, Nathan Lowe. Won Player of the Month in the division in December. Like I say, he only stayed until January at Walsall. He was then recalled by Stoke. Played 10 times for them and scored on his return at West Brom away. But then kind of struggled to keep his momentum from the start of the season with Walsall. Marvin Johnson still not happy. Probably the fact that Nathan Lowe's still on the pitch. He's going to have to swap the shirt here, the former Wednesday wing-back. It's a nameless and numberless shirt. So it'll be easy to recognise which one Johnson is. As the ball is delivered into the box as we restart play. Header won by Garrity. Headed away by Osborne. Put back in by Humphreys. Bit of head tennis as it's away from Connolly. Crowsdale gets in the way of Humphreys and the ball drops to Lowe, who needs to release it. And he does with a dinked ball out wide left here to Osborne. I think it was helped on by the flick on by Diamond, who gets the ball down from Osborne in the corner of the box. Delivers right-footed. Dangerous ball. It's a header won at the far post. Ball as far as Oluwu, who plays it forward into the corner of the box on the right-hand side to Onyango. Tries to get around Byers. He does. Dinks it in. Header won at the near post by Connor Hall. And eventually slammed away. All the way back to Ben Hinchliffe. Midway inside the Stockport County half. And they've just got to try and see this through to half-time, Port Vale. Keeping it at 3. They don't want to go any further behind. Oluwu to Wotton. Round the corner down the right-hand side for Lowe. There's a little bit too much on it. And can be seen behind for a goal kick for Port Vale. Who've got Bolton away in their next league game, which won't be easy. They won their last game in dramatic fashion on one of the Saturday early kickoffs against Cardiff with a 1-0 win. Definitely a right arm / elbow thrown in the face of Marvin Johnson by Nathan Lowe. Bit of an experience there. If you can get a bit of a better angle, there's definitely a case that potentially Nathan Lowe's a lucky boy to still be on the pitch. He was given a yellow card, and that was it. The angles they're showing aren't exactly great, but from what you can see, there's certainly a bit of intent to try and catch Marvin Johnson. But the young Loney stays on. There's no VAR at this level. So the yellow card decision stands, and that's what will be. 90 seconds left of the first 45. We've got a Port Vale throw-in the final third on this near side. Looks like it's going to be a longer throw-in by Kyle John, former Everton player. He throws it towards the near post. It's a header won by Oluwu, volleyed on by Diamond. Towards Onyango on the right-hand side. He'll get there ahead of Garrity. Onyango on the halfway line. He passes the halfway line, tries to play the ball down the line for Lowe. Well cut out by Johnson. He had to get there to stop that ball going through to Stockport County's number 9. And Port Vale start again from the back with a number 25, Cameron Humphreys. Spent the last 3 years at Rotherham. Made his 50th League One appearance last time out against Northampton in his last appearance before injury at the beginning of this month. Yeah, and 8 years at Manchester City for Cameron Humphreys between 2011 and 2019. And he is a former England under-19s international. Long ball forward for Port Vale. Hinchliffe comes out and he wins the header out of his area. He had to get there and he did it brilliantly. Ben Hinchliffe probably gave Dave Challoner, his manager, a slight heart attack as Port Vale win a free kick midway inside the county half. Right slap bang in the middle of the pitch. So no real angle for a cross. Just a slightly late one there by Odin Bailey. But fantastic goalkeeper and heroics there by Hinchliffe. It was a ball down the centre by Jesse Deborah, and Hinchliffe was there ready, and as soon as he knew he was going to be there to win it, he went for it, and he headed it forward. Showing his experience there, the 37-year-old, as we've had 6 minutes added on here. We had a stoppage for Marvin Johnson's bloody nose, and also it seemed like there might have been a bit of a crowd issue midway through the first half. So 6 added on. So it's going to be a long shot from Payton, and I think it's glanced the crossbar. Genuinely, that attempt is from around 30 to 35 yards out. It's only a 2-man wall. It's just slightly to the left-hand side, so probably an okay angle for a right footer, but it was still very far out. He's caught that brilliantly. He's got good dip on it as well. It was going right to the top left corner, but he just didn't quite dip enough, and it's hit the top of the crossbar and behind. But that is not a bad effort at all by Rory Payton, who's looking for just his second league goal of the season. He's not scored since Exeter away in the middle of September. Just giving Stockport County something to think about there, not wanting to let him shoot from far. As we played a minute and a half of the added on time, still 4.5 left to play. It's Cameron Humphreys at right centre back for Port Vale, bringing it forward into the final third, having to turn back as he's been followed by Wootton. Into the middle to Payton, who just dropped into the midfield from the striking position. Out to the left, now Marvin Johnson. Hall gets forward from centre back, but they return it to the halfway line to Deborah. Humphreys forward to Crowsdale, plays it into John, good interchanging play. John squares it, cleared by Connolly. Looking for Payton. Decent build-up there by Port Vale, something we've not seen enough of in this first half. Because if they want to try and get back in this game, they certainly need to score next. Diagonal ball out to the right. John takes it on with a touch which is too heavy. And Hinchliffe gathers in his full orange kit. Very confident goalkeeping from the ex-lorry driver. Ben Hinchliffe only turned pro when the club turned pro again back in 2020. Big kick out of the hands, only as far as Garrity, who heads on to Devante Cole, slips on the wet turf, but then regains his footing and keeps it away from Connolly, plays it into the path of Johnson, low ball in for Crowsdale, and it just goes wide. 2 huge chances for the former Hatter, and he's not scored. He won 2 titles with the club in his 4-year stint, and he's had 2 big chances, one at the start of the half, one at the end, where he should have scored. Got to at least get it on target minimum. Played down the left-hand side, and he's been a threat the entire game so far, Marvin Johnson, with those deliveries in. Right on the 6-yard line, Crowsdale with the right foot met it at the near post. Tried to direct it to the far corner, but just opened up his foot too much. Sent it wide of the goal. Big opportunity though for Port Vale. Should really have scored both of the chances he's had, Ryan Crowsdale. But he hasn't, and it remains 3-0 to the away side. It's now with Hinchliffe. Kicking it high, up towards Wootton. Header won by Humphreys. Glanced on by Byers. Controlled in the centre circle by Crowsdale. Bullied off the ball by Diamond, who he then brings to the floor. And it'll be a free kick on the halfway line for the Hatters. How were you ahead by a minute? Not entirely sure. Unless you're watching it on a stream, maybe. I'm not too sure. So we played 4 of the 6 added on. County put it into the box from the free kick, and it's gone towards Olowu. But the goalkeeper's out to collect, as it was a header on from Wootton. As Olowu's looking for his 3rd league goal of the season. His last was in their 1-0 home win to Blackpool a couple of weeks ago. That was a 1-0 win, just like their win against Exeter last week, where they actually had less possession than the opposition last week. Stockport County, it was 48 to 52%. Gouchy, the goalkeeper. Big kick out to the right, looking for John. Comes off the back of the head of Osborne. It's a throw for Port Vale just inside the county half. We've got a minute left to play. It's going to be taken by Kyle John. Never scored a professional goal, the wing-back. Chesterborn. Came through at Everton. Made the bench 8 times in the Premier League. But never got on the field. Marvin Johnson. Down the left-hand side. Plays a ball towards Byers. Garrity, who's holding it up against Odin Bailey. Back he goes into Johnson. Then forward to Devante Cole. Keeping it away from Oluwu on that far side. Still with Cole. Going back to the halfway line to Connor Hall. To his right to Deborah. Driving with the ball forward in the centre circle. No pressure on him at the moment. Keeps the ball going forward. Lays it off to his right to Humphreys. Still looking to go through the middle here, Port Vale at the moment. Then forced to go back to Connor Hall. And that's the 6 minutes of added on time played. And the referee will blow his half-time whistle. It's a dream. First 45 minutes for Stockport County. Technically 51 minutes with added on time. And it is a 3-goal lead they take into the break at Vale Park. It all started in the 13th minute with a Nathan Lowe header from a really well-found cross by Tyler Onyango. But before the goal, Port Vale had chances of their own. Their biggest was a header over the crossbar from Ryan Crowsdale. But 10 minutes later, Stockport County doubled their lead to make it 2-0. Wootton on the edge of the area, spinning and shooting and finding the bottom right corner to score his 6th goal of the season in the league. 4 of those 6 have come away from home. And they made it 3-0 just 6 minutes later before the half-an-hour mark. Jack Diamond chasing down Jesse Deborah, who wasn't aware of his presence from behind. A slight little shoulder shove on the centre-back. Outmuscled him, got him through one-on-one, and he very delicately slotted it into the bottom right corner beyond the goalkeeper. It's been complete domination from the away side in terms of their chances taken. They are being nothing short of clinical. Frustrating Port Vale, who are trying to play their way of long, high balls, trying to be physical, but Stockport County are matching them and are beating them at the break. As at half-time, it is Port Vale 0, Stockport County 3. Huge first half from Dave Challoner's side. Port Vale will be slightly disappointed and confused because in terms of the stats, it's not been too one-sided. I mean, Port Vale have had more possession if we're going to go down that road. Port Vale have had 52% of the ball to County's 48%. They've had more shots than Stockport County. Port Vale have had 6 to County's 5, but Port Vale have had 2 on target to County's 4. And I think it's just a matter of fact that the away side have just been that more clinical than the home side. And sometimes that's all it takes. You know, right before half-time, Crowsdale with that chance at the near post with the right-footed attempt, he's got to at least get it on target as a minimum. He also had that chance with the header within the first 5 or so minutes of the game. You know, they've hit the top of the crossbar with that free kick later on in the half by Rory Payton when it was 3-0. So Port Vale have had plenty of chances to score, and they're probably a little bit unlucky. They're down by 3 goals because they've not exactly played awfully, but it's just when Stockport County have gone forward, they have made sure that ball has gone into the back of the net. So, slightly unfortunate for Port Vale, but Stockport County will not care in the slightest. Does also mean Stockport County go top of the League One table. Port Vale will stay in the relegation zone because the bottom 4 go down. They're in there with Plymouth, Blackpool and Peterborough, who of course sacked Darren Ferguson. Was it yesterday? I believe it was yesterday or the day before. Blackpool just changed their manager. They got rid of Steve Bruce and brought in Ian Evatt, and they beat Peterborough in their first game at the weekend. Plymouth not exactly doing that well with Tom Cleverley, of course, losing their derby against Exeter on Thursday night just gone. And then just out of the relegation zone, they've got Burton, who are 2 points clear of them in 20th, Reading 2 points clear in 19th, and then Exeter and Wickham are in 17th and 18th, 3 points ahead of Port Vale. So it's still rather close down under at the bottom half of the table. And it doesn't look like Port Vale will be moving anytime soon. They had to win tonight to get out of the relegation zone, and they're currently 3 goals down to this Stockport County side who are running riot at Vale Park. Like I say, if you are new, if you could like and subscribe, that'd be absolutely fantastic. And it's exactly what we want to see on a commentary. Goals. That's all I ask for. Can we get goals? And we've had more than enough in the first half. Hopefully, these just aren't the only goals we get. As the away team just keep up their good form. They've only lost 1 of their last 9 in the league, with 5 wins and 3 draws, and that run is dated back to the 23rd of August for Stockport County. This will be their 4th league win in a row, which again just shows the momentum they've currently got. And I think it's a good time to pick up momentum because we're past that kind of start of the season now. We're nearly into November. This is, for some teams, their 14th league game. You've settled in now. Your new signings have had enough time to adapt. If you can now start picking up results from, back end of October, going in towards the Christmas period, if you can get through to January and you're still right up there, towards the automatic spots, then that's probably whereabouts you'll finish. I just think in these lower leagues, in any league really, it stands the same, but if you can get momentum, it's so important. And momentum can come from many things. It's not just results, it's avoiding injuries. If you can try and keep the bulk of your squad fit and playing week in, week out, feeding off that confidence of winning matches, then that helps. At the minute, Stockport County have got plenty of players out injured, but it doesn't seem to affect them. They've got quite a good squad depth, and I know Stockport County have put a lot of money into the club since the takeover from local businessman Mark Stott. But if we go through the team, there's a lot of free transfers they're still using. Ben Hinchliffe, their goalkeeper who joined in 2016, he was on a free from Fylde. The 3 centre-backs are all free. Joseph Olowu from Doncaster, Callum Connolly from Blackpool, Ethan Pye was brought in from Rochdale back in 2021. Then their midfield 4 on Yango's on a loan, Osborne's on a loan, the 2 wing-backs. Ollie Norwood is on a free from Sheffield United. Odin Bailey was brought in for an undisclosed fee in the January of 2024 after a loan spell which was successful in the first half of the season. Then Nathan Loza loan signing, Jack Diamond and Wotton are on frees. So although they've pumped money into the club, training facilities, stadium and the players, they're still utilising the free market and the loan market, which you've got to do well in this division. You've got to use the transfer market well, not just pump loads of cash into players. Can that cash maybe be used on wages? Potentially, because Ollie Norwood won't be on, a low wage at Stockport County. He signed a 3-year deal and he'll be on a decent bit of money because he was once, not too long ago, with Sheffield United, who were bouncing between the Championship and the Premier League. They're just showing this Nathan Lowe yellow card in the 40th minute, where his right arm struck the face of Marvin Johnson, which made his nose bleed. And I think there's a big claim for a red card there. He clearly got in quite maliciously. I think the linesman probably had a better view than the referee. So potentially he got away with one there, Nathan Lowe, the scorer of County's first. And he spoke in his interview after the Exeter game last weekend, Nathan Lowe, because he was the match winner, so he was interviewed by the club. And he did mention how Port Vale are usually a team that don't give him the best of receptions due to his links to Stoke City. And it is his first time scoring against the club. But yeah, definitely think he's got away with one there. Nathan Lowe. With VAR, probably a red card, if we're just going to put it pretty simply. But that's what's not good, because elbows and arms in the nose should be punished with a red card. But sometimes when it gets missed and it's for your team, that's kind of where you ride your luck a little bit at this level. We'll get the second half restarted in about 5 minutes' time. Again, it's a bit of a head scratcher for Port Vale because don't get me wrong, it's hard to judge Port Vale sometimes when they play because of their kind of direct way. It all looks a little bit scrappy, effective but scrappy. Because again, they don't play a lot of the ball on the floor. But to pretty much be level with Stockport County on stats and be 3-0 down is rather unfortunate. But that's what happens when you don't. We've listed just before the chances Port Vale had in the first half, and they've just not taken them, and Stockport County have. It's just one of those things. Just see if they make any potential changes, Port Vale. And another thing that we need to highlight for sure while we've got a break, and I can tell the story without interruption. Stockport County manager Dave Challoner has never finished outside of the playoffs in his managerial career after 14 full seasons. He was sacked by Fylde in the 2019-2020 season when they were in the relegation zone, but he was sacked, and then that season turned out to be the COVID season. So it was never a full season for him in management. But in his 14 other full seasons across 6 different divisions, he has finished no lower than the playoffs. That is absolutely outrageous. Don't get me wrong. In his last 2 promotion campaigns, he's not won promotion. In the 22-23 season, they lost in the League 2 playoff final to Carlisle, who are now in the National League. You know how things can change over a 2-year time span. And then, of course, in the playoffs last season when they lost on penalties again, but in the semi-final stage to Leyton Orient, it's usually league titles, what Dave Challoner likes. Obviously won the League 2 title in 2024, won the the National League title in 2022, won the National League North in 2017 with Fylde, also won the 7th tier in 2012 with Fylde, won the FA Trophy with Fylde as well, won promotion with Hartlepool from the National League in the 2020-2021 season on penalties, beating Torquay. He's just a serial winner, really, and playoff finder. Of course, not every playoff campaign's ended in promotion, but the fact he's even getting them there as a minimum, I think that's a really good experience to have as a manager. Don't get me wrong, he's got more than enough experience in terms of playoffs because he's been involved in almost 14 playoff campaigns. But if he ever moves on to another club, which I can't see, but if he ever does, and it involves playoffs, if you're involved in them, even if you just get to the semi-final stage, it adds on another 3 or 4 weeks to your season. So then if you stay at that club, you've then lost those 3 weeks for the season after. So it's almost like you're always playing catch-up. But clearly, Dave Challoner makes sure that doesn't affect his teams because they always go again the season after and get in the playoffs. But that can sometimes be a bit of a downfall for some teams because they've had to carry their season on by an extra month or so, and you don't get promoted. You're firstly zapped to confidence because you didn't make it with the promotion, and secondly, you're a month behind because you've had to carry on last season. So it can always work against you when you finish in the playoffs and you don't go up. But like I say, clearly Dave Challoner's not let that be an issue in his career. So the second half is edging closer as we're just about to hit 9:05 on this Monday night, as we're edging towards November, Halloween on Friday, which I couldn't care less about, to be completely honest. Then, of course, Bonfire Night on the 5th of November. It's where the real football season starts, I feel. Once you get into November, you hit December, you go into games, and you don't even want to be there because it's that cold. And depending on what team you're watching, you think, why am I here? I could be at home in the warm, but no, I'm watching my team play long ball for 90 minutes and struggle to get a shot on goal. But it's why football is so good. Like you say, you've got the FA Cup starting as well this weekend coming. And Port Vale will be wanting to avoid an upset against Malden Tiptree. It's definitely a team you do not want to be getting beat to, especially if you're a League One side. because Morden and Tiptree will be absolutely up for that. No doubt at all. Step 4 of the pyramid. Morden and Tiptree, 8th tier against 3rd tier. So if Port Vale don't win that, then that's an embarrassing defeat. But then again, it's one of those things where, you know, Morden and Tiptree have nothing to lose. It's when the FA Cup upsets come into play. So, we're back ready for the second half. It'll be Stockport County, 2 kickers off, kicking left to right towards their away support. Behind that goal to the right-hand side, and for Port Vale, they'll be kicking right to left as they look to try and mount an inspiring comeback. Just waiting for the referee's whistle of Edward Duckworth. First time reffing either of these two sides this season. As he's looking down at his watch and eventually blows the whistle as Norwood plays it into Hinchliffe. Don't think there's been any half-time changes from either side. As Hinchliffe goes long up towards Wotton. Headed down to Lowe, who hits it first time off the post. With his left boot still alive on Yango. Delivering the ball off Johnson. And it'll be a corner. Rapid start. And then Nathan Lowe, who potentially should have been sent off in the first half, almost bagged his second in the game. Brilliant flick on from Wotton. And left-footed from the edge of the area. First time. Crashing the near post. Not sure if the goalkeeper got a touch to it. But it's a lively start from the away team. Cross goes in from Norwood. It's a free header and it's a clearance off the line. And a sliced volley away by Johnson. And there'll be a throw-in. And somehow within the first minute, Stockport County have not doubled their lead. Norwood crosses again into the gloves of Gauci. Low hitting the post and then a free header in the area. Not quite sure who had that header. Might have been on Yango. Wasn't entirely sure. It happened very quickly. As it's Port Vale to lose out. Jesse Deborah couldn't get on the end of the Gauci ball. Diamond on the halfway line in the central area. Goes back to Norwood. Lifts it to the left. That's a brilliant pass to Osborne. He's got bodies in the box to deliver the ball to. It goes all the way through and it just avoids on Yango. But I think there was a flag up for offside. Potentially on Nathan Lowe, who was going to try and win that header for a second time in this game. On Yango with the header and he completely just miscued it. It was always going well wide, that header. Probably should have scored it. And it probably would have gone in if he'd got it on target. Doesn't look like it's going to get any easier for Port Vale in this second half. Long ball forward. Cole wins the header. Oh, as far as Norwood, who flicks it on. And it drops to Lowe, who plays it into the space for Diamond, who will get there ahead of Humphreys. On the left-hand side, he's got Osborne making the run ahead of him. He'll go on his own, cut inside, shooting, and it's blocked. And eventually it's cleared by Humphreys for Port Vale up towards Cole. Loses out to Olowu, who's just stronger. And it's now County on the halfway line with number 27, Odin Bailey. Born in Birmingham, came through their academy. Played for England's under-16s. Very close friends with Jude Bellingham, in fact. Odin Bailey, playing together during their Birmingham academy days. Hinchliffe in the 18-yard box. Long clearance, playing Port Vale at their own game. Wotton again flicks on, but it's just away from Lowe. And it's Port Vale to start again from the back here with their centre-half, Cameron Humphreys. Spent 3 years playing in Belgium before returning to England to play 3 years at Rotherham. Connor Hall, the left centre-back, forward into Payton, who they brought in from Queen's Park. In July 2024, his best season, Rory Payton, was actually for Queen of the South in the 22-23 season when he scored 22 in 36 Scottish League One appearances, so he clearly knows where the goal is. And he almost had one of his own tonight as his free kick crashed the crossbar at the back end of the first half. Garrity to the right wing back of John. Towards the halfway line out to Deborah. Byers the number 7. Goes into Humphreys in the centre circle. No pressure on him at the moment from a player in a green shirt. He's allowed to carry it forward and slip a ball through, which is cut out by the sliding challenge of Odin Bailey. It's now Norwood. Keeping the ball, playing it to his right on Yango on the near side, driving forward to the halfway line, playing the ball through towards Lowe, who can try and beat Humphries to it, but he deals with it well, the centre-half. And it's now Port Vale to go again within their own half, having to go from the start. Humphries out wide right to Crowsdale, lays it off into Deborah, who'll drive forward into the county half, still with Deborah. Playing it inside to Crowsdale, edge of the area. One more pass left-footed to Devante Cole, whose shot is blocked by Bailey. Dealt with by Olawu. In the area now is Osborne. Just needs to get rid. Clearance is stopped by John, who then gets it across here to Devante Cole. First shot blocked. Payton with the opportunity. His shot is blocked. Byers with the shot, and that one's also blocked. And away it goes for Stockport County, who survive a huge scare at the start of this second half. Just about to hit the 50th minute. It's Port Vale 0. Stockport County 3. About 3 shots all blocked there in quick succession. Defending what they've got, the away side, as Devante Cole's ball is out of play. And in the left wing back position, it's a throw-in for County. Osborne's first clearance wasn't very good. Ball in the box went to Cole. His shot was blocked. Payton had the same outcome, and so did Byers. That one off Pye, who was able to get the ball a bit further clear. I think it would have been saved by Hinchliffe, even if it had gone through Ethan Pye, who takes the throwing down the left-hand side, volleyed forward by Byers, headed on by Connolly, controlled by Pye, forward to Diamond, who's touched to the left, means he's swiped out by Humphries, and that'd be a free kick within their own half for Stockport County. Only lost one of their opening 6 league games of the season, winning against Bolton, Wickham and Burton, and drawing away to Leyton Orient, but were defeated to Bradford at home at Edgeley Park. As Bradford do sit just below them in the table. Bradford are 4th on goal difference, 2 points currently behind the leaders at the moment, County. There's got the first change of the game, and it's a central midfielder off for a striker. George Byers, the number 7, is replaced by number 9, Jaden Stockley, who is a striker who's making his 49th appearance for Port Vale. His best ever season was in the 17-18 season when he got 20 goals in 44 League 2 appearances for Exeter. Currently this season, Stockley hasn't scored in all competitions. Has come off the bench in the last 3 games though, now in the last 4. As Osborne in the final third crosses left-footed, it's hung up for Lowe, who heads it towards goal, but then headed away by Connor Hall. Looks for his Odin Bailey on the edge of the area. A bit scrappy here on the edge of the 18-yard box. Payton goes back to the goalkeeper, Gouchy, who just gets rid. And it's the clearance out of play for a Stockport County throw-in within the final third. It'll be on Yango to take. Throws it in towards Diamond. Keeps it away from Crowsdale. Then into a more central area here to Norwood. Back to the halfway line to Connolly. Keeps it moving to his left to Pye. Even Pye goes forward to Wharton. Dropped slightly deeper for the ball, but he keeps it ticking. Norwood switch out to the right towards Onyango, who can keep it in. Finding Olawu. Tries to go forward, kicks it forward, chases his own touch, but it's cleared up by Connor Hall. Controlled by Stockley on halfway. Then Olawu slides in to intercept the ball out towards Marvin Johnson. Throwing for Port Vale, as they still trail by 3. 11 of Stockport County's 14 goals conceded in the league have come in the second half. This is where they need to keep concentration for the full game. Humphries lifts it out to the right-hand side towards Kyle John. Touches it down, keeps it away from Osborne for now. Goes into his own half here to find Deborah. Then across to Humphries. Out to the left of Payton, lays it off for Connor Hall. Then inside for Humphries. No pressure on him at the moment. Nathan Lowe's getting across. And it's forcing Humphries to go back. Good pressing there from County's number 9. It's now the goalkeeper, Gouchy. Plenty of time on the ball for the number 46. Big kick out to the right-hand side. Looking for Crowsdale. Headed on, but then headed away by Connolly. And it'll roll out for a Port Vale throw-in for Jesse Deborah to take. going to throw it down the right flank into the Stockport County half. Not dealt with there by Pye as he's flung to the ground. And it will be a free kick. Pye ended up on the deck a bit too physical there. Jayden Stockley. And Stockport County restart with Diamond in the central area. He gets the touch ahead of Humphreys, but the touch is loose. Picked up by Garrity. Now Johnson can't work it down the left channel here for Port Vale, but then headed forward by the captain. Now out wide left to Payton. He's going to run at Oluwu. Plays it into the runner Johnson, who's tracked by Onyango. And that'll last come off the county man, and that's a corner kick for the home side. Just under 10 minutes played of the first half. It's still Port Vale 0. Stockport County 3. As they try and push for the first goal of this heroic comeback that they desire at Vale Park. They surround the back post here, Port Vale. And it goes to the near post. It's poked away by Onyango. And it'll roll for a Port Vale throw-in. Good concentration there by Stockport County number 24. That hamstring injury picked up in November of last year. Onyango kept him out till March, which would have just slowed down his progress slightly because he'd started well on loan at Stockport County last season, but that was cut short. Hopefully this time it won't be the same. He won another header from the throw-in. Second header by Norwood. Picked up by Crowsdale. Out wide left to Johnson. Into the middle towards Garrity. Keeps it away from Lowe. Johnson back to Connor Hall. Touches it down and goes into his own half now to Humphreys, who is playing as the central centre-back in this second half. To the right to Deborah. Forward towards Stockley. Cut out by Pye. Diamond with the heavy touch. Gives it back to Humphreys. Could have been a good chance for a counter-attack there for County. Lifted down the right-hand side. Pye's header straight to Stockley, who's got time to get his head up and release it to the left here to Marvin Johnson, who's going to run it on Onyango. Tries to get it through his legs, but he can't. And Onyango will bring it away down the Stockport County right. Lifts it forward towards Nathan Lowe. Is he onside? The touch is brilliant. Nathan Lowe keeps it away from Connor Hall. Looking for support. Plays it back into Norwood. Then out wide left to Osborne. Into Norwood once more. Forward to Diamond. About 22 yards out. Onto his left foot. Into the box he shoots. It comes off Deborah. Towards Odin Bailey, who doesn't quite get there ahead of Johnson. But it's Norwood. It's Onyango. Into the box. On the outside. Tries the cross off Johnson. And that'll be a corner kick. Both teams looking to score in this second half. Obviously Port Vale to start a comeback and for County to get properly out of sight. Set piece for the Hatters. Norwood crosses in and the header towards the far post just goes wide. Pye cannot believe that has not hit the back of the net. Would have been his first goal of the season. Bailey went short to Norwood, who delivered it indirectly. Oh, and he's got to score. About 6 yards out, he lost his man of Stockley. Oh, and even at the far post, there was body sliding in to try and just tap it home. Lowe was closest. How's that not gone in? I'm really not sure, but it remains 3-0. Should have been a 4 for sure. Norwood with that delivery, it's just absolutely frightening. Wand of a right boot. As Port Vale are away. Down the left-hand side, it's Cole. Bailey's trying to get back to recovery. Squares it through, and that's a brilliant sliding interception from Ethan Pye. Because that would have been a tap-in for Port Vale. Sometimes when things are going your way, things are just going your way. And for Stockport County, it seems like everything is going right at the moment. As it's Port Vale again down the right-hand side, but Crowsdale's pass goes behind John. And that'll be a throw-in for Stockport County, midway side of their own half on the far side. Just over half an hour left to play. Devante Cole tried to square it for Stockley. And Pye stopping the ball, getting to the number 9 with his left foot. Brilliant last ditch, and then Connolly just got rid, taking no chances, the former Blackpool defender.
31 minutes left of the 90. Stockport County are going to make their first change. The scorer of the first, Nathan Lowe, who may be counting his lucky stars that he's still on the pitch after an incident with Marvin Johnson where he got a yellow card 5 minutes before half-time. Scored the first with a header where he's now scored in back-to-back games for the club. Scored their only goal in their win against Exeter at Edgeley Park last Saturday. It's actually a double change. Nathan Lowe comes off and so does Jack Diamond, who scored the third goal. Just bringing on a bit of energy, I think, to try and match this Port Vale team who will keep going till the end. And the two changes see Nathan Lowe come off for Brecky Andreasen, and Callum Camps is the one to replace Jack Diamond. So striker off, striker on, and then a winger off for a bit more of a central midfielder but can play in those higher positions. Callum Camps, very technically gifted player on the ball. Struggled a little bit of injury recently, the Northern Irish international, former Northern Ireland under-21. Callum Camps started 3 games this season. They all came in the opening first 3 games. He has been back the last 2 games on as a late sub. This time he's going to get a bit more of sustained game time with half an hour left to go. Stockport County have won themselves a corner on this near side. It will be Norwood, I'm assuming, to deliver it in. Bailey short to Norwood, near post, headed away, all as far as Camps, who helps it back in towards Andreasen, who goes down. Referee says no, just a bit scrappy on the edge of the area. Connolly works it to Wotton on the left-hand side, tackled, and then brought away by John, who skips beyond one challenge. Bit isolated on the right-hand side, looks inside for Crowsdale. Sliding challenge from Wotton, sends it out for a throw-in, which has been taken quickly. And there's a switch from Garrity on the halfway line. Can't find Marvin Johnson. It's short. Couldn't be played forward by Onyango. Thankfully for him, Oda Bailey was there to tidy up. Onyango. Norwood forward on to the centre circle to Camps. Getting his first few touches on the ball after coming on as a half-time, as a substitute with half an hour to go. On the far side with Pye. 5-yard pass to his right to Norwood, who dinks it over the top, looking for Andreasen. Header won, though, by Connor Hall. Picked up free in the midfield by Crowsdale. Finding Stockley, then playing it behind him to Garrity. Restarting with Humphreys. It's now the right centre-back of Deborah. Across to Humphreys once more. Port Vale had won 4 of the last 6 fixtures against Stockport County. A run from February 2005 to August 2022, which was their last meeting in the EFL Trophy, which was a 1-0 win to Port Vale with a Chris Hussey free kick, which he went on to play for County that year and win the League 2 title. Camps in behind for Andreasen on the right-hand side. Will he beat the goalkeeper to it? No, he won't. Very calmly done by the goalkeeper, who keeps under control and clears it down the left-hand side, where it's a header won by Olawu. Big challenge in from Payton. Kept in by Johnson. It's all fair game. Johnson forward. Can't find Payton. Cleared by Olawu. And that'll run through to the goalkeeper. And we have 27.5 minutes to go. Still Port Vale 0. Stockport County 3. All 3 goals coming within the first half for the Hatters. Their 3 wins in the league for Port Vale all came in a row between September the 13th and September the 27th against Exeter, Mansfield and Barnsley. But they haven't won in their last 3, picking up 2 draws against Northampton and Wimbledon, then losing their last to Wigan Athletic away from home. They had kept 2 clean sheets at home so far this season. Port Vale in that 0-0 to Northampton, but then also early on in the season against Cardiff, which probably seems like a pretty healthy 0-0 draw. As of course Cardiff will be up there at the back end of this season looking for that title. Still with the goalkeeper for Port Vale, Joe Gauci, making just his 15th League One appearance. Big kick forward, it's headed backwards by Osborne into Hinchliffe. Expertly done by the Derby loanee Ben Osborne. That's a 400th club appearance for him tonight. 230 for Forest, 134 for Sheffield United, 28 for Derby and 8 for Stockport County. As Jesse Deborah has to kick away as Wharton was chasing him, throwing towards the final third on that far side for the away team. Gets the ball returned to him from Norwood. It's now with Bailey trying to make the pass down the line for Osborne. Didn't quite get that right, and it will roll for a goal kick for Port Vale, who did win 12 of their games last season at home in the league, just winning 2 of the last 5. Did slightly stumble at the back end of the season, Port Vale winning 1 of their last 4, and that win was away at Wimbledon, which is pretty impressive because they, of course, got promoted as well. But they went through their toughest patch in the league when they won 1 from 10 games from the start of November to New Year's Day. So they did go through their poor patch, but they still had enough in the tank to get over the line and promoted. Hinchliffe long, left by Wotton. Andresen, left side of the box, holds it up. Camps is in there, goes back instead to Norwood, about 25 yards out. He thought about the shot, plays it out to the right instead to Onyango. Finds Bailey, who crosses towards the far post, towards Andresen, who gets it across, but it's well caught by the goalkeeper, who wants to try and distribute quickly. Rolls it to his left to Connor Hall, whose contract expires next year in 2026. He was in the League 2 Team of the Season, Connor Hall, after only missing 2 games last season, which was away to Barnsley in August, then at home to Newport in the middle of January. Connor Hall battling with Andresen. It's another throw-in for the Hatters. Onyango, we've got a quarter of the game to go. Takes the throw-in to Camps, who helps it on to Andresen. Now Bailey, out wide right to Camps, who I think was offside. Could be a corner though, and it will be. Connor Hall couldn't avoid it. Kind of made out like it was going to be a corner. The fact he tried to chase it down. I think if he just let it roll out, I think the ref might have edged more towards a goal kick there, if anything. It's another set piece for the Hatters. Almost scored from one not too long ago with Ethan Pye almost nestling the ball into the left-hand side of the goal. Goes short again. Norwood, far post. Header away, but all as far as Kamsu meets it. And it was always rising. And I think it was rising due to a deflection. So that'll be another corner kick for County. Just seemed very difficult to deal with these Norwood deliveries in. And if anything, that's come off Kyle Wotton. No. Camps hits it straight off Wotton. I can't believe that's a corner. Bad officiating. It's gone in the box to Pye on the far side. Shrugs off Stockley. Delivered in by Osborne. Over the head of Connolly, who was having a hold of Connor Hall. And that'll be a free kick for Port Vale. And I'm very glad they didn't score there, Stockport County, because that was certainly not another corner. So I think Port Vale are going to make more changes. Kyle John, the right wing-back, replaced by Ronan Curtis, who can play wing-back. Usually more of a left-sided player, but he might have to do a shift on the right-hand side. Had started the last 2 in a row, the Irishman. But off the bench tonight, and his only goal in the league was off the bench in their last home win against Mansfield. Back underway, kick out to the right hand side. It's a header on towards Payton, and then flicked on once more by Stockley. Kicked by Pye off Cole and into the hands of Ben Hinchliffe. Preston born. Spent a year at Derby where he made 6 appearances on the bench for Derby. Never actually played a minute for them in that season where they registered the lowest points tally in the history of the Premier League, as his long kick goes straight out of play for a goal kick for Port Vale, as he apologises to the Stockport County bench there. Ben Hinchliffe who is certainly seen as a Stockport County legend. Over 400 appearances for the club, over 150 clean sheets. And they haven't lost in the league whilst he's been in goal this season. And he was the number one from November onwards last season, but then suffered an injury away at Wigan, which allowed Corey Adai back in the goal. And he's kept his spot up until the last 5 games where he made an error against Cardiff at home, and then Hinchcliffe's come back in. Certainly got 2 number ones, it seems, at Stockport County. There's Pye. Brings down Cole. Referee doesn't see it as a foul. And County can clear. On thin ice there. Ethan Pye, Ben Garrity asking the question of the referee, Edward Duckworth. But it's ruled away. It's going to be a long throw in from the right-hand side here by Jesse Deborah. 20 minutes plus added on time to play. Fired in to the near post. It's an easy header for Olowu. As it's Curtis to chase this ball down. Camps is right on his ankles. Curtis gets it nicely down the line to Deborah. Then on once more to Garrity. Connor Hall, sorry. To the edge of the area where it's gone to Odin Bailey, who goes down over the challenge of Humphreys. And it will be a free kick for Stockport County. Very well won there by Odin Bailey, who's now making his 7th start in a row in the league for Stockport County. Scored their 2nd goal in their away win at Huddersfield at the start of the month, where they won that one 2-1. Not sure that's a penalty there. Don't get me wrong, Devante Cole got the better of Ethan Pye, turning inside and getting beyond the number 15, but the contact was just a little bit too minimal, really. Back underway. Camps in the midfield in the County half on this near side, playing it forward, looking for Wootton, gets there ahead of Humphreys. Wootton on the right-hand side, cutting inside and playing the ball back to Norwood. Switching it to Osborne, slightly behind him, but he can keep it in play. Number 23. It's now into Norwood, round the corner for Wootton, chests it down, plays it to Osborne. It's now with Pye. They're playing with Port Vale here, Stockport County. Osborne lifts it down the left channel. Camps will half give it a chase, but he was never going to get there. Throwing for the home side. It's going to be a longer throw-in taken by Jesse Deborah once more. He's actually thrown back to his goalkeeper in the end, Joe Gauci. Big kick forward. Header won by Connolly. Helped on by Wootton. It'll be chased down by Andreasen. But he will not get there ahead of Humphreys. 18 to play. Still 3-0 to Stockport County. Not scored since the 29th minute when Jack Diamond made it 3-0. Ending his rut in front of goal. He hadn't scored in his previous 8 in the league. Long ball for Port Vale. Down the left-hand side towards Stockley. Header won by Olowu at the back. It's now Bailey, track turn away from Crowsdale. Plays it forward to Andreasen, who gets there ahead of Connor Hall. But then the sliding challenge stops him from going any further forward. That's a throw-in for the away side. Lost just the 6 last season away from home in the league. Stockport County, their biggest defeat was against Cambridge, 2-0 on the 22nd of February. So when they lose, they don't usually lose by too many. Dave Challoner's side. Norwood hooks it forward towards Wootton on the right-hand side, heads it up into the air. Humphreys allows it to bounce. He eventually clears, but straight to Norwood. And the switch is on to Osborne on the left, but there's not enough power on it. Cut out by Curtis. And then cleared by Gauci, the goalkeeper. Looking for Stockley, who does head it on. Controlled by Payton. He's got Cole running ahead of him. Lays it out to his right instead. To Curtis. Running at Pye. Tripped by Pye. No, says the referee. Won back by Camps. Connolly. Big kick forward. Straight back into the Port Vale half. I think Stockport County just giving possession away a bit too easily at the moment. It'd take quite something for a comeback, but just one Port Vale goal and they'll have their tails up. Stockley heads it across towards Cole. He flicks it for Payton. Good header away by Connolly, and a second one. But as far as Croasdale, slide tackle from Pye. Well timed, but again drops to Garrity. Croasdale takes over. Right hand side, it's Curtis. Onto his left foot. Garrity forward for Croasdale, who was offside, so he has to let it run out. And that will be a goal kick for Stockport County. Just overall frustration, really, I feel, tonight for Port Vale, because they've not exactly been properly beaten in terms of stats. I know stats can not tell the full story because, quite frankly, Stockport County have just been clinical. But Port Vale have had 9 shots, but it's just the one on target. That's what's killed them, really. Hitting the crossbar in the first half. Croasdale having 2 brilliant opportunities in the first half as well, where he probably should have scored. Big kick from Hinchliffe out towards the right-hand side. It's a header off Connor Hall. Throwing for the team in green. Onyango throws it forward to Camps. Works it back out wide towards Onyango. Cleared away by Johnson. All as far as Oluwu. Forward into the midfield to Norwood. He's allowed to turn. Calmly play it 5 yards to his right to Bailey. 1-2 with Onyango. It's now with Norwood. To his left centre-back of Ethan Pye. Uses Osborne. Then back into Pye. Hinchliffe clears it long towards Andreasen. Header won by Hall. Loose ball headed out wide by Garrity into Johnson. Hall once more. Goes back to the goalkeeper in the 18-yard area. Need a home goal for 700 quid Acca on my both teams to score Acca. The amount of times we get people in the chat who are just saying, I need a goal for my bet. It happens all the time. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, I can see Port Vale potentially scoring. I'm not saying they will, because I can't read the future. But they just need to get a shot on target. That will help their cause as they break away in the final third. Curtis with the cross, well blocked by Osborne. Throwing it next to the corner flag for Port Vale, who have played in League One in 3 of their last 4 seasons. Finished 23rd in their last one when they were relegated. It's going to be a long throw-in taken by Deborah. Goes short, in fact, to Curtis. Left-footed, delivers. Header from Oluwu, back in by Garrity. Header won again by Wootton. Croasdale battling with Camps. It's Pye eventually to kick it away. And it'll be recycled on the halfway line by Marvin Johnson, who's just going to direct it back towards the edge of the 18-yard box. Had a won though by Onyango. Controlled by Croasdale, but it's loose and Camps can win the foul and the free kick. 13 minutes left of the 90 to play. Port Vale still trail by 3-0. It's Stockport County readying another change. Owen Moxon, Carlisle born, came through their academy, left in 2014, but then rejoined in 2022, promoted with them in 2023, beating Stockport County in the playoff final at Wembley on penalties, and he will replace Odin Bailey. 1 appearance now off the century mark for the former Salford man, but he will be replaced by Owen Moxon, who's only scored once so far for Stockport County, after joining in the January window last season from Portsmouth. Scored in that home defeat to Bradford in the middle of August. So a like-for-like change in the middle of the park for the Hatters. As Port Vale have got it with their left centre-back Hall. Now with their goalkeeper. Kick forward. Header won by Connolly as he beats Stockley to it. Onyango just gets rid, and it's a simple ball in the end for Wootton, who's forced to go all the way back to his own goalkeeper of Hinchliffe, who just gets rid, taking no risks, and Wootton will have to give chase. Deborah running back towards his own goal, towards the corner flag on the far side. He's able to clear, but it's not convincing. Straight to Camps, who drives into the box, gets a bit of fortune, but then tackled a second time, and the ball runs away, and it's played forward by Croasdale to Stockley. Loses out though to Connolly. Andreasen plays to his right as Connolly continues the run. Chops onto his left. Shoots, which deflects. Does it deflect? It doesn't. just couldn't quite get his foot around it. Oh no, Connolly does believe it deflected. Referee says no, goal kick. Turned into a bit of a right winger there, Connolly, as he won the ball and then chopped onto his left. It should have been a corner. Certainly took a deflection. That's 2 calls the referee's got wrong, 1 each, so levels itself out. With his left foot, yeah, took a glance off the head of Connor Hall, but the referee's not seen it. Free header there by Stockley from the long goal kick forward. Can't quite be kept alive by Peyton. Thumped away for Stockport County. Miscontrol by Marvin Johnson allows Andresen to bring it forward down the right-hand side. Shoved off the ball, the Icelandic under-21 international. But the last touch comes off the Port Vale man. Throwing for the away side. Scored in the most recent international break for Iceland, Breki Andresen. Scored in the September international break against Estonia away. And then scored against Luxembourg at home in the October break. Onyango throws it towards Camps, cleared by Hall, but Camps had a hold of Hall as he cleared, so that'll be a free kick for Port Vale as they've got less than 10 to play in the second half. Unfortunately, the goals have dried up, but Stockport County still hold on to their lead. Jesse Deborah at right centre-back, heavy touch. Osborne met by a big challenge from Deborah, and it goes to Pye, then gets rid. Headed won by Crowsdale, free control for Moxon. Out to the left to the halfway line to Osborne. Pye forward to Moxon. Allowed to turn and switch it out to the right towards Onyango, facing his own goal. Finds Olowu across to the central centre-back of Connolly. Forward to Norwood. To the left centre-back to Pye. Down the line to Osborne. Inside to Camps. Time on the ball. Kicks it off Curtis. Throwing for the away side. Whose goal now will just be to kill the clock. Try and get this game over and done with and get out of here top of the league. Yeah, just be 1 defeat in their last 10 for Stockport County as the former Hatter, Ryan Crowsdale, captained the team many times, will come off for George Hall. A man they brought in from Birmingham in the summer. Spent 13 years at Birmingham. Spent last season on loan at Walsall. Was injured though from December to March, so missed a bit of the season. Norwood into the space down the right-hand side for Onyango in the final third. He crosses into the box. Free header for Hall. It's now with George Hall, the central midfielder, gets away from Norwood, drives the ball, but the touch is heavy, and it's won back by Olowu. Then Moxon through the legs, I believe, of Devante Cole, and his pass deflects, but all as far as Camps, who then gets the out wide right to Onyango. Norwood to Camps, into the middle to Moxon, just sends it up high in the sky and out into the stands, throwing in their own half of Port Vale. Taken by Marvin Johnson. Beyond Onyango and Stockley, headed forward by Olowu and then helped on by Onyango. Andresen battling with Hall, he's able to clear it. And then Stockley switches it out to the right, looking for Ronan Curtis. Osborne will get there and just slams it away. Up into the sky it goes. Wootton will continue to chase it. Deborah forced to head it out of play. Throw in for Stockport County. Just does not stop working up front. Kyle Wootton, the number 19. Signed a 3-year contract back in August of 2024. He's now scored 28 League One goals, 17 of them for Stockport County, 11 of them during his time at Scunthorpe. Scored 11 goals last season in the league, Kyle Wootton. Didn't score in any of the last 6, which included those playoff semi-final games against Leyton Orient. Onyango drifted into a more central area. Moxon. Back into Pye. Quickly to Norwood, who we know can make things happen. Created the most chances in the division so far this season. Osborne tripped. Camp's tripped, sorry, by Curtis on that far side. It'll be a free kick for Stockport County. Coming up to almost 4 years in charge now. Dave Challoner, a win rate of just under 55%. Only won 10 of the last 20, though, in all competitions. Stretching back into last season. It's a two-man wall. Inviting crossing opportunity for Ollie Norwood to try and get his 5th assist of the season. Cross goes in, held on by Olowu, and again it goes wide. The Hatters could have scored so many more than just the 3. Olowu got onside, unmarked. Oh, he just didn't get contact. And if he did, he didn't get a firm contact. Lost his man of Humphreys. Deborah didn't get a cross. And just a decent sustained contact to the ball, and Olowu probably makes it 4 and gets his 3rd of the season. Not to be for a Nigerian-born centre-half who moved to England as a child and came through the Arsenal Academy. Less than 5 to go with the 90. Camps tries to go around the corner to Andreasen. Intercepted. Throw-in for the away side, just inside the Port Vale half on that far side. It will be 4 without a win now for Port Vale in the league as they cement themselves into the relegation zone. Headed on by Wootton to Camps on the left wing. Overlap from Osborne. Delivers it in towards Andreasen, who does get the header towards goal, but it was always flying over the crossbar. And that will be a goal kick for Port Vale. Edging closer to all 3 points. Got it wrapped up in the first half an hour with the 3 goals from Low, Wootton and Diamond. The last time these two sides met in League One was a 0-0 draw here in October 2004. Almost 21 years ago to the day. That game was played on the 23rd of October, currently on the 27th. As Osborne in the left wing-back position shows too much of the ball to Curtis, and it's one back for Port Vale. He's not got much support. Brings in Garrity, the captain, who he plays a 1-2 with. Garrity back through to Curtis. Touched on to Cole. Tackle made and into the gloves of Hinchliffe. I think one of the most important parts of this Stockport County performance is the defensive output in the second half. Because they've got the 3-goal lead, they've not gone easy, they've not settled down thinking if we concede 1, we've still got a 2-goal lead. They've wanted to reserve this 3-goal lead, and they've done just that for the moment. Port Vale will try and come again as they lose out in the midfield. Cole on the right side of the box is caught offside. As Peyton absolutely belts it into the back of the net, but the flag and the whistle had gone way before. And everyone had already stopped. Yeah, probably just a bit of frustration, lack of concentration from Devante Cole to be caught offside there. It was the right decision. Played for 8 different clubs in this division, Devante Cole. 38 goals in 115 for Barnsley, where he scored his most goals. Of course, the son of Andy Cole. Cross from Marvin Johnson towards Devante Cole at the far post. Couldn't quite get the touch. Goes out for a throw-in for Stockport County. Less than 2 to go. Never actually faced Stockport County as a manager. Darren Moore played against them 8 times as a player. And I believe he scored against them as well. For Bradford in League One in a 2-1 home result in August 1998. Never scored against Port Vale in his career. Dave Challoner played against them 11 times. Wasn't really known as a goal scorer though, Dave Challoner. Cole tries to head it on, cleared by Osborne, slightly sliced. So it'll roll for a Port Vale throw-in. About 10 yards inside the county half. Bit of a longer throw-in towards Stockport. Dealt with by Pye, but he does slip. But Osborne helps out. Pye has stayed down though after the slip. Norwood plays it forward as Camps works it to Onyango. So they've carried on playing despite Pye being to the deck at the moment. Onyango slows it down. He's not got much support around him. Goes back into Moxon and into the middle to Norwood. Pye back to his feet. Connolly on the halfway line. Finds Pye. Back into Connolly. Pye bringing the ball forward. Down the left-hand side to Andreasen. Flag stays down. One-on-one with Humphreys. Crosses. Cleared. All as far as Camps. Tackled. But all as far as Wootton in the area. Works a bit of space. But drags the shot wide of the bottom right corner. And that will remain 3-0 to County. We've got 3 minutes of time added on. Indicated by the fourth official, Richard Aspinall. Tackle on the edge of the box there by George Hall. But it actually played it straight into the box for Wootton. Couldn't quite get the goal to get his brace for the game. So 2.5 minutes to go. Port Vale have got it on their left-hand side with Connor Hall into their own half with Cameron Humphreys. Into the midfield to George Hall. Johnson returns it to Hall. He's making the run down the left-hand side towards the byline. Battling with Moxon who slides in. Good sliding challenge, well timed. Corner kick though for the home team. 2 minutes to play. Of course they won't be able to get anything from the game, but they'll be at least wanting to get a consolation goal. Yeah, they've only scored 5 so far at home in the league. Failed to score in their third round League Cup tie against Arsenal here. Cross goes in towards the far post. It's a header won by Pye. Controlled by George Hall. It's been closed down by Wootton. Doesn't know where to go. Goes down the line to Connor Hall, who again surrounded by green shirts. Doesn't know where to go. George Hall takes over. Wootton puts the foot in. And it'll be a throw-in for Port Vale. And the fans slowly start to make their way towards the exits as they realise that it won't be any points going home with them today. It'll be just the one win from their opening 7 home league games for Port Vale as Curtis's ball into the box is not met by anyone making a run. And Ben Hinchliffe will collect. As Challen is directing Joseph Oluwu to get a bit wider as that right centre-back as Hinchliffe boots it as far as he can towards Wootton. Headed away by Connor Hall. It's a little bit misdirected. It will be kept in by right wing-back Ronan Curtis, who is allowed to get it forward with a high ball towards Stockley. Helped on. Caught late by Connolly. Don't think it was intentional, but he was certainly caught. And it will be a free kick for Port Vale. Probably the last roll of the dice to try and get a consolation goal. Job was pretty much done in the first half. Challoner will probably be impressed. He'll probably find slight weaknesses in the second half performance, but when you're taking 3 points home, away from home, you can't usually complain too much. So last chance of the game. It's going to be a Ronan Curtis delivery into the area, which has been headed away by Moxon. Still alive, it's controlled by Johnson, but the touch comes off a County player, and they are away to get it a fourth. Andreasen, the Icelandic international, can he wrap up the 3 points? It's saved by the goalkeeper. Norwood on the left side of the box. Can he get a goal himself? His shot blocked. And the full-time whistle eventually is blown. Andreasen will be absolutely devastated. He couldn't get a goal of his own. But Stockport County will go away with the 3 points. And those 3 points give themselves a space at the top of the League One table. Teams below them have games in hand. But They're the ones to chase down at the moment. A professional display on this Monday night. Winning 3-0 at Vale Park. And all 3 goals coming within the first half. It was Port Vale who could have took the lead. Croasdale with a header against his former club, which sailed over the crossbar from 8 yards out. But then a header from Nathan Lowe gave County a 1-goal lead. And then that lead was doubled 10 minutes later. Carl Wotton spinning on the edge of the area and putting the ball into the bottom right corner himself. And then a third goal was scored just before the half-an-hour mark. Jack Diamond closing down Deborah, shoving him off the ball and putting the ball himself into the bottom right corner as well. Port Vale probably could have had another goal before the break as a consolation. Croasdale at the near post diverted a shot wide of the far post. Rory Payton hit the crossbar from a free kick from afar, which seemed to have beaten Ben Hinchliffe. And then right before the break, Nathan Lowe had an arm into the face of Marvin Johnson. He picked up a yellow. Could have very possibly have been a red, but he didn't see red. And in the second half, Stockport County had chances to make it more than the 3. Pye with a header from a corner which just went wide. Olawu as well from a cross from Norwood where he couldn't get contact. And at the end, Andreasen with the last kick had a one-on-one with the goalkeeper, but that was well saved by Joe Gauci. Port Vale could have had a goal here or there, but nothing major created in the second half as they fall to a defeat at home once more as at full time at Vale Park. It finishes Port Vale 0, Stockport County 3. Great commentaries, mate. Thank you very much. Did enjoy that one. Don't get me wrong, I'm a bit disappointed the goals dried up in the second half, but it was a very professional away display from Stockport County as they go and celebrate with those travelling supporters. It's a 2-hour round trip as Dave Challoner takes a flag from the stands, and this is very touching and very moving. It is the George Thompson flag. He is a young Stockport County supporter who tragically lost his life 4 years ago to the day. It is a banner and a flag that goes absolutely everywhere with Stockport County, and the full squad grab the flag and take a picture in front of the travelling supporters. Very touching from Dave Challoner, as it is a story that is well known within the Stockport County fans. 4 years since the passing of George Thompson, a young Stockport County fan. He took his own life, but his memory will forever live on because that flag goes everywhere. And it is a really nice sentimental touch from Challoner to get the flag and get that picture with the fans and the entire squad behind the flag. Touching moments at full time and a perfect way to cap off a night where Stockport County have collected all 3 points at Port Vale and have gone top of the league for now. Teams are behind them, waiting to take their chance to go top of the league. The likes of Cardiff, Stevenage and Bradford do have games in hand where they can go above Stockport County, but Dave Challoner's side of the team with the points on the board, and at the moment that is what matters most. So if you did enjoy it, make sure you like and subscribe before you go. I'm going to try and commentate at some point this week, this weekend, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to, so subscribe with notifications on to see if I am or not. If I don't commentate this weekend, I will definitely try and do one the weekend after, so just got to bear with me. And like I say, if you subscribe with notifications on, you'll know if I will be or if I won't be, and what game I will be doing as well. But that will be the end of the live stream. Hope you did enjoy. Make sure you like and subscribe before you go. As Port Vale are now cemented into the relegation zone. County are the only team to win out of the top 6. It's a huge 3 points. It takes them top of League One. Goals from their starting front three. The first from Lowe, the second from Wilson, and the third from Diamond collects them all 3 points. As here at Vale Park it finishes. Port Vale 0, Stockport County 3. And the Hatters climb to the top of the League One table.